What up, players? Welcome to the channel, and today let's talk about the 5 survivors that you should be leveling up to get their teachable perks and your other survivors' blood webs. Now, I have my friends asking me which character they should be leveling up next, what perks should they be unlocking, and I figured this video should help them and you guys. In my personal opinion, remember that, what I think would be the best way to path, the words I should be looking for, to level up your survivors. Now, at the bottom of this list, mind you, like I said, bottom list does not mean the worst on this, the worst of all of these. If you're on the list, you're good, but that comes up with Nancy. Nancy's abilities are very simple, but very good. Most important perk you want to go for is Inner Strength. Inner Strength allows you to open up a destroy a totem, get inside a locker, and after 8 seconds, you're fully healed, which is great. So because Sloppy Butcher is a main thing, it takes forever to heal from Sloppy Butcher. This greatly outclasses Self-Care and most health kits. However, the issue, its downside is you can only have one at a time, so you can't like stockpile broken totems, and there's only 5 totems inside of a trial, so you're only gonna be able to use this up to 5 times. Not but more than likely anybody is going to start breaking them down. So the more other survivors are breaking down your things, the less likely you're going to be able to use this perk more often. But it's reliable. You're going to get at least 1 to 2 uses out of this. Our other one is called Better Together. Whenever you're working on the generator, it will highlight yellow to all other survivors, and they can see this yellow generator within 32 meters of you working on this generator, which gives them, hey, yellow generator, walk over and begin to heal and begin to repair the generator with you so you can knock it out quickly. Additionally, whenever a survivor is downed by a killer for 10 seconds, you can see the aura of all survivors, which is really useful because if someone isn't with you, you can see where the other 2 survivors are, and if someone is with you, you can figure out where the other person is. Regardless, it's I guess a lesser kindred that allows you to figure out who's going to go and save the person on the hook. And Fixated, so you can learn your own scratch marks. The Fixated shows you all your scratch marks whenever you run, and if you're not injured, increases your walk speed by an additional 20%, which is fantastic because walking is sometimes better than running, so you don't reveal your scratch marks if you don't have to. But seeing your own scratch marks, if you don't understand the scratch marks, is great for beginners to understand what running around the map does and figure out why you're always being found by the killer. This can help teach you that issue. Next on the list, we have Dwight, one of the original survivors in the game, who, though he is original, does not mean that he's outclassed by any of the newer survivors that came out afterwards. One of his best perks, Leader, allows him to give all other survivors within 8 meters of himself 25% bonus to healing, sabotaging, unhooking, cleansing, opening, get everything but working on the gen. They do 25% faster. Which is really amazing. Obviously, this doesn't stack with other people with leadership. It just takes the strongest one. But even after the Dwight or the Leader perk has left the person, they still are benefited by Leader for 15 seconds after Leader is around, which is absolutely amazing. Next up is Prove Thyself, which is essentially leadership but only works on generators and gives you only a 15% repair speed bonus, which is fine, but all cooperative actions you do additionally, not just on gens but even other healing other people, will give you 100% bonus blood points. It's just absolutely, and just like Leader, this doesn't stack. However, it doesn't benefit for 15 seconds after it drains. Once you're done cooperating, it doesn't work, which makes sense. And his other ability, Bond, allows you to see the aura of all survivors within 36 meters of them. Really useful if you just want to figure out where anybody is. Honestly, you can run this over Self-Care, because with this, you're likely to find another survivor, run to them, and to get them to heal you. But, or help them work on the gen. Much more useful in my opinion than Self-Care. Third place on this list is, to me, Meg Thomas. Meg is absolutely awesome. Her perks are just all around just great. She actually she's the first person on my list to have an exhaustion perk and a sprint burst, which to me is what, the second or third. You'll find out later why I did say that. best sprint exhaustion perk in the game. You can't control it. If you run, it will activate. There's no activate trigger other than running. And if you do, you gain 150% movement speed for 3 seconds, and you are exhausted for 40 seconds. Meaning exhausted, if you don't know exhausted by now, it's simple. If you do anything, if you start running, your cooldown for exhausted doesn't tick away. If you walk or do nothing, then your cooldown for exhausted begins to go away. Meaning you can't regain, you can't lose this debuff while in the chase because you're running. Quick and quiet, very great perk. Allows you to reduce the sound of all quick actions such as vaulting, jumping out of a lock, in or out of a locker kind of thing by 100%. No notice notification to the killer whatsoever. Great stuff. And it triggers once every 20 seconds, and unlike exhaustion perks, can cool itself down mid-chase. So if the chase is going long enough, you can trigger this baby more than once per chase, and if you're slick enough, even get away. And adrenaline, which is top tier perk, baby. If you make it to the end of the game, unlike me most of the time, you will activate, you will heal yourself by 1 healing stage. So if you're down, you stand. If you're standing injured, then you are fully healed. And for 5 seconds, you gain 150% movement speed, 2 seconds longer than actual sprint burst, which is great. And it makes you exhausted. But what if you're already exhausted? Well, that's amazing, because adrenaline nullifies that, refreshes your exhausted status, and still you gain this bonus. That's amazing. You could sprint burst, trigger adrenaline, and gain another sprint burst. Adrenaline is absolutely great. Its only downside is you have to make it to the end of the game. And additional, for those guys who can't stand going against those Freddies, if you are asleep, it will instantly wake you up as well. Second place for me would be Bill. Bill is very weird, and you may not agree with me on this one, but hear me out first why I put Bill second place on that list. And honestly, it's solely and utterly because of borrowed time. If you've played enough Dead by Daylight, you've got up through the ranks and you've grinded your behind off, you know what it feels like to be taken off the hook, to either be farmed by somebody or to actually try to save someone and they just get tunneled into oblivion, and now you're like, I feel bad. Well, borrowed time stops that by whenever you pick off a survivor off the hook while inside the killer's terror radius, then they get a endurance for 15 seconds. This endurance is well, if you know what endurance is, if you would get hit and be downed, instead you have the deep wound status, and borrowed time puts it in you for 20 seconds, after which you have to ming yourself, if not fall to the floor. It's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing to stop all those people. It doesn't work against people who can manipulate their terror radius, like, you know, Wraith, Ghostface, Doctor sometimes, but like for more often than not, it's going to work in your favor. Absolutely amazing perk. The other one is Unbreakable, also known as Unbreakable. This is very niche and very niche, but honestly, once it works, it feels absolutely amazing. Whenever you're down in the dying state, once per game, you can pick yourself up from the dying state right on up. Also, it increases your recovery speed while on the ground by an additional 35%. You can pair this up with several other perks to get maximum effect out of it, but by itself, it's great, especially if paired with Decisive Strike, or if someone else has Decisive Strike and the killer thinks you do. They will slug you and they will feel salty for it. And his last perk is Left Behind, which is honestly saved me a few times, but it will show you the aura of the hatch when you're the last survivor in the game. Mind you, when you're the last survivor in the game, you will see the aura of the hatch within 32 meters, which helps you find the hatch if you are really bad at listening to the sound of the hatch. Very niche, but very good when it works. I'd like to go through a few honorable mentions that wanted to make the list. I really had a hard time trying to figure out what to put them on here, but they are still people you should consider if it fits your playstyle. One of which is Kate Denson. Kate Denson has some good perks to get you out of a chase, one of which is Dance With Me. Whenever you vault or sprint out of a locker, you leave no scratch marks for 3 seconds and has a cooldown of 40 seconds. This works even while being in the chase, so your cooldown, if you're really good at chases, you can pop this off more than once per chase, which is absolutely great, especially if you pair it up with Quick and Quiet. The other one is Windows of Opportunity, and don't you start laughing at my choice of thinking that Windows of Opportunity is a good perk. It is absolutely awesome, and hear me out. Windows of Opportunity is great if you're a beginner perk, if you're a beginner survivor and you don't know where any pallets are, or you don't have any idea where any loops are or any vaults are, or if it's a new stage and you don't know where they are. This could show you all of them. Additionally, if you are a veteran player and you're like, I already know where all the things are, I don't need to know where they are. Well, if you're playing the game with someone who likes to be happy-go-lucky and drop every pallet in the game, this allows you to know, hey, hold up, I can't go that way. I thought there was a pallet there. There is not. And now you don't have to be caught and going somewhere where you thought it was safe because the noob dropped the pallet at the shack 20 seconds into the game. We're gonna skip boil over, but I will like to state boil over does not allow your wiggle meter to go down 75% faster. That would be busted. It only makes the killer sway left and right 75% more, and any hook within 14 meters of the killer, they can't see the aura of the hook within 14 meters. But like, that's stupid. You can just see the hook within 14 meters. I guess that works for indoor stages, but other than that, it's absolutely useless. And our second honorary mission of the game will be Feng Min. Feng Min has some great perks that blends very well with both Meg and Kate Denson. And that perk would be Live. Live, whenever you do a rushed vault over a pallet or window, whatever it is, you gain 150% movement speed for 3 seconds. Sounds like sprint burst, but you know, one you can activate whenever you need to, which is why I say it's probably the second best or third best, depending on your playstyle, which is why I said that best exhaustion perk in the game. All the same rules as sprint burst, except it triggers when vaulting. So this is great, and you're gonna know what I'm gonna say, aren't you? Because you're big brain. That's why. Now you pair this up with Dance With Me, so your scratch marks are gone for 3 seconds, and you get it with Quick and Quiet, so you don't make an audible sound. Quick and Quiet, Live, Dance With Me sounds like a free escape to me. Absolutely amazing. Great playstyle if you're great at juking and messing with the mind games of killers. Technician is okay. Technician, when you work on it, will reduce the sound of you working on the generator by 8 meters, which is awesome. However, with the new generator rework, they spark and make so many visual effects. The sounds really don't do much for you anymore. And additionally, if you do fail a skill check, you will lose an additional progress by 3 additional percent. However, if you do fail a skill check, it will not make a noise cue to the killer. I particularly don't like this one because of the additional loss. I think that's really bummy, but otherwise, just don't miss skill checks. Technicians is meh for on. And Alert is low-key great perk that many people just don't give enough respect. Whenever a killer kicks a generator, look at his aura for 5 seconds. If a killer kicks a pallet, look at his aura for 5 seconds. That's amazing. Do you know how many pallets are in some maps? That's 5 seconds of visual in the killer. How many times a killer gonna kick a generator? That's 5 seconds of looking at the killer. This is just so much information. You should never ever overlook this perk. It's amazing. It's absolutely great, and absolutely is a better version of Windows of Opportunity. If you don't know if a pallet's been dropped, well, you can see it when he kicks the dropped pallet across the map. You go, that's a pallet. Well, there's no pallets on that side of the map. Teaches you so much. Now, for our number 1 survivor that I think you should absolutely get, drum rolls, please. I might enter an audio for that. I might not. But regardless, here it is. You guessed it, my boy David Sexy Ass King. Now, why would I pick David King and not any of the other people I was stupidly hyped for? Because, you know, mechanics. Number 1 reason, we're going to live forever. It allows you to double your blood points and your entire blood points. You want a barbecue and chili? Well, this is the survivor version of barbecue and chili. Mind you, if you haven't figured it out, barbecue and chili is like my favorite killer perk for the very same reason that we're going to live forever is one of my favorite survivor perks. 100% bonus blood points whenever you get a safe hook rescue, take a protection hit, rescue a survivor by hitting a killer with a pallet while being carried, or flashlight a killer while carrying a survivor. You gain 1 token, and for each token you gain 25% bonus blood points at the end of the game. After everything, absolutely great. Double the blood points. Additionally, which just recently got buffed, if a survivor is in the dying state on the ground, you can heal them 100% faster for free, just because. That's just so good. Killer wants a slug, pick him up, run away. Take an actual protection hit, get 25% extra blood points at the end of the game for being a boss unit. Absolutely good. And when you want to level up your other survivors, well, We're Gonna Live Forever is gonna allow you to do that so much easier with a double the blood points. And secondly, the best, absolute the best adrenaline. Was it adrenaline? No, adrenaline is an actual perk. And exhausted perk in the game, Dead Hard. Just so good. You press the activated button while injured and running, and you cause a small little gap where you're invincible. You can't be hit. You can't do. It's like you're not even there for that small dash, and you're just gone. You can run, loop, come back around to the killer, dash through his space, hit him with the pallet, get the hell out of dodge. Absolutely amazing. Hands down, best exhaustion perk in the game. So good. Its downfalls, quote unquote latency, its hitboxes, server issues. Just too many times you hit the decisive strike and you're like, oh, that's great, oof, and you do it and you just salty. And also, it's run so frequently that most killers will walk right up to your back, breathe down your neck, wait for you to dead hard because they expect you to have it. It's that good. And lastly, oh God, No Mither. We don't talk about No Mither. It just needs a rework. You just come in the stage, you're always injured. Reduce your grunts by 50% and no blood dripped. The only thing that's good about No Mither is that you can pick yourself, it's unbreakable. You can pick yourself up from the ground infinite number of times from the floor. It is the only thing that's good at it. The only thing No Mither is worth. It needs a rework. But these two perks here are alone enough. Dead Hard and We're Gonna Live Forever are two perks that are just worth leveling up David for solely because it's that badass. That's my point. If you guys agree and you understand, hey, hit that like button, beat the crap out of that, subscribe, and join the family. And look, if you want more videos like this, I will happily produce those. And if you don't agree with me, you're more ran and you're bad at the game. I'm messing with you. That's not entirely true. I love all you guys. Have a good night. And if you don't like it, like I said, put down in the description down below what you think should be the order and for what reasons. And with that, I'm getting the hell up out of here. Have a good night, guys. See you around. Chowder.